So, is reality stranger than fiction, or is reality just strange enough to inspire fiction? Today's guests will be sharing about their inputs and insights given and gained from their real lives and those they play in the film Relationship Killers. It's a dark comedy that centers around mental health and a secret that may ruin one couple's first therapy session. Please welcome writer Noah Waters III and his delightful cast of characters on and off screen. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello.
So I'm really excited to see more of how these characters play out in the film, especially since y'all let me in on the table reading. As we were, y'all were going through it, I couldn't help but associate the characters, different characters, with people I knew in real life, with the exception of E's character, because it totally reminded me of Mrs. Doubtfire.
I never thought of that, but that's such a lovely takeaway. Right. Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
100%. And Noah, as a writer, you have said that you prefer character-driven writing as opposed to a concept-first approach. When you were writing the characters for this film, did you have the characters first and then you put them into the scenarios, or did some of the characters show up in your imagination as pairs?
So the character of Braven was first. She existed in the larger world, Lethal Ladies, first. Like she had her own thing, and I knew her backstory pretty well. And then Betty Green originally had a different backstory in the larger world, and then in creating Relationship Killers, I drilled down into their backstory, why they do what they do, why they say what they say, which kind of became plot. Like it became what the storyline was. So same thing, but it was just getting that much more specific is what dictated their the story of our film.
And that makes it so relatable, and the characters seem so real because of it. So I'm totally invested in this now. And I'd love to do a quick round robin, and we'll start with Carly. But the question is, what has getting to know your character, and Carly, I know you're not a character, but work with me, girl. What has getting to know your character taught you about relationships? And if you could tell the listeners your real name, and then your character's name and kind of, who they are in relationship to the story, that would be helpful as well. So Carly, kick it off for us, girl.
Okay, so my name's Carly Steichen. I'm actually not a character in the film. I am the director of photography, but that means that I take on the responsibility of giving the film its character. I put it all in a big picture. Instead of just one person, I'm worried about the whole thing. And so for me, this project has allowed me to look at my own relationships and try to bring those dynamics to what I'm trying to bring to the screen.
The dynamics of the bigger picture of everything.
Yes.
I love that.
Hi, I'm Lexi Mcallen, and I play Betty Green. I feel like my character has definitely... I'm not anywhere close to being as, let's put it, anal as my character. But definitely I feel like from certain parts of the film that communication and vulnerability are definitely something that needs to happen more often, and not to be afraid of it. Because you never know if it might be the demise of your relationship. It's always great to bring it up and do it in a way that's productive for both people in the relationship.
That's so true. I relate to your character. I was like, I know that girl. She lives inside of me. and it's so true, because people with a very whatever that personality type is called, kind of maybe a personality type, who knows, but when they tend to correct their partner's grammar while in the middle of a verbal confrontation, they're also the person very committed to not being vulnerable. So that's such a good insight. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we all have an inner Betty and an inner Braden. It just depends what monster we.
Who is
Depends
who?
on the mood.
Right, exactly. I'm Asia Loren. I play Braven. Me and Betty are married. And I think, what Betty said, 1,000%. Vulnerability is one of the main takeaways that it's teaching me in my own personal life, but also people receive love differently, and learning how to give it the way that they can receive it. We kind of explore that. Me and Betty, we're in love. We've been together for a while, but we're missing the mark. We're not giving and receiving the way we think we are. And so that's something even in my personal life that I'm, trying to maneuver around and learn how to pay attention to people and what they need from me. And then also show people what I need from them. Yeah.
Oh, that's so true. And that applies to romantic and platonic relationships. Everyone has a language of love, or you might feel more comfortable calling it a language of appreciation if you're in an office setting. But regardless of what you label it, it is something that connects with that person when you're speaking to them. So I love that insight so much.
Yes.
Man, you all are so good.
Absolutely.
My name is Jerry Angelo. I play the character of Dr. D. And thanks for having us on here, Meredith. This is kind of cool. We get to see everyone in a different light instead of just doing our table reads. But Dr. D's character, what I learned from him is that he just knows everything already. He just he believes that just because someone says something, he already knows how to analyze someone's entire life and their relationship. And I think that's impossible to do, and it's terrible to even try to think that you can do that. Like, even if people do this in real life, as far as where I'm at, I'd like to keep things present, and we're ever changing and maturing. And the reason, I can't say what happens to him, can I, Noah? Oh yeah. So I'm glad I carry on. But anyway, I believe that, everyone gets, the universe brings to you what you deserve and what you've manifested in your life. And there's, if you get a flat tire or something like that, for some way or reason, the way you handle that and the way why it comes to you, there's a reason for it. And if you choose to take it, take a positive approach to it, then you're in good shape. And if you take a negative approach to it, then you're going to, that's where you're at. So Dr. D has some karma, some big karma coming his way.
Why do I feel like I have just been in the best therapy session already? Just from hearing all of your wonderful insights. This is great.
Oh. Tragedy, lots of tragedy.
Yes.
Oh, man.
But you survive. What doesn't kill you makes you better.
We'll find out.
And then also Einstein says that whatever about stupid, like doing the same thing over and over makes you stupid, or there's some kind of more intelligent way of saying that. But if you learn those two, then you're in good shape.
Yes, exactly.
Einstein said that's the definition of insanity.
Insanity. There we go.
Yes. So Dr. D. Right.
Dr. D.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.
Hi, my name is Janet Lopez, and I'm the producer. And I'm also playing just a small role of a girl crying in the waiting room. But after reading the script, I was intrigued, but seeing everybody perform it just came to life. I think one of the greatest lessons that I came out of, I think that anybody can reflect while watching this film, but I feel like everybody has, I don't want to say a hidden secret or something that you don't want your partner to know about you, at least to a certain extent, whether it's because you're embarrassed by it or you think it's going to affect the relationship and you just don't know when to bring it up or if you should or shouldn't. So that's something that, you can learn from that. Like sometimes it's not as bad as you think it's going to be, or sometimes you should just let it all out there and let that person accept you for who you are, regardless, because it's going to come out no matter what, or it's going to affect your relationship. So, whatever it is, just think about it. And if it's something that, if it's you, if it's a part of you, then maybe that's something that you want to share.
That's so wise. And it complements what Jerry said about not being committed to not being vulnerable, but instead purposely choosing vulnerability. That's beautiful. Yeah. All right, E?
I'm E. Talley II, and I play the fabulous Two. And what I like about Two, yes, I see you, Asia girl, yes. Yes, the fabulous Two. And I like Two because he is unapologetically himself in all of his relationships. And I think a lot of times people sacrifice too much of who they are to please other people, not just romantic relationship, but even in our society, as we go on our day-to-day lives, we're always trying to lessen who we are to sort of uplift other people. And Two does not do that, honey. Trust. He is like, I am Two, and I am here, and I am positive, and I am sunshine. And even though there are some who challenge him, they shall go nameless. Have to see the film in order to see who challenges Two in all of his positivity. Hallelujah. But no, but Two is just very assured of who he is and knows it and goes forth with his truth. And I like that.
I like it too. That's oh my gosh, it's so great. I love the brightness that your character brings to the whole scenario too, because as I said in the intro, it is a dark comedy, but that doesn't mean there isn't comedy. So I love that it's your character that brings the comedy, and it's not necessarily like a slapstick type thing. It's really just your character being, like you said, authentic. That's fantastic. Okay, well, the next thing that I would love to ask the people who are or have been married is to weigh in. Lexi, girl, I'm going to pitch this to you, so just you get ready.
Obviously.
Well, I think there was one other person that has been married in the cast, correct?
Gary.
Yeah. So you're not being singled out. I promise. So yeah, not just you. So this was some advice that someone gave to me, and I thought it was pretty good advice, but I would love to hear what you think about it. So Lexi, we'll start with you, since your heart rate already raised because you thought I was singling you out. So the advice was that marriage isn't always 50-50, but it should always equal 100. What do you think?
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. What do you think, Lexi?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 100, always both of you put in 100%. And like, it's not going to happen all the time. Some days you're not feeling yourself, you're getting, stressed out at work, and you just you don't feel like cooking or cleaning. You don't feel like, doing anything but vegging. And, it's the responsibility of the other person to pick up that slack. Not that it's slack, but it's like, to take care of the other person and to make sure that they're okay, so that you both can be continuing on with the 100%. It's similar to what I've told you about the A and C thing.
Yeah, explain that.
Oh, okay. So there's this thing called the A and C technique, where the person who's in the A position is, the caretaker, the person that listens and wants to emotionally help you, and is in that caretaking mode. Then the C person is the person who is in that moment being vulnerable and sharing what's up, whether it's, hey, you said something, or there's this thing that was going on earlier today, and it really got me thinking, and spiraling down, overthinking about our relationship, and just want to talk about it. the role of the A person in that situation is to listen and to see what's going on, and the person in the C position talks about what's happening, and kind of like after they talk about it, they're supposed to be like, I don't know what I really, if you do know, then you can say like, oh, I could really just go for a hug right now, or I'd appreciate it if we could in the future not say these kind of things in that way. And the person in the A position goes, okay, yeah, I can give you a hug, or, you know, even if you can't do it in the moment, because sometimes you guys are in a drop down, drag them out fight, and it's hard to want to give that person the affection or whatever it is they need. So you'd be like, you know, I cannot do that right now, but you know what? I promise that I will work on it. I just need to step away from the situation. Mm-hmm. So it really gives the opportunity for each person in the relationship to be vulnerable and have that care given, and you won't feel ignored and you won't feel like you need to shut down. It keeps that openness in the relationship, and it really helps with communication and keeping that flow going.
I love that.
I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it totally did. Jerry, what do you think about the 50-50, 100 advice?
Yeah. So, I think first of all, for each individual, if they take it in a positive sense, then that's the best first way to take it, whether it's 50% or 100%. If you're optimistic and looking at that, if you're looking at it as a challenge, then there could be some issues in there, because there can be resentment if your partner's not upholding their part of the deal, or, helping reach the 100%. When I was a little less mature in learning relationships, I would say, it's like throwing up all the cards, and it's, even though you're capable of catching all the cards, it requires both members to catch, to catch their fair share of cards. So it's not just one or the other. What's changed in me is, from my relationship and having had a marriage that didn't work out, and just, like I said, maturing, what's most important, I put all the, regardless of the other person, it's 100% on me to keep myself in alignment and centered and grounded. And if I'm in that place, all the things that I'm responsible, or the things that I need to take care of, are being taken care of. They're being nurtured. They're healthy. Everything's in a high frequency. Like, you're operating in your life at the, in the best capacity as you can be. So, whether you're reaching 80% or 100% in whoever's eyes or whatever, but you're clearly in a good spot. So you're able to give 1,000,000%. If you're starting to take away from yourself, then you're going to be less helpful. And then you start to feel like you have to make up for something. And I don't think you should always, that's not a good place to come from. It's not the healthiest place to come from.
Yeah, I agree. That's very good words of wisdom. And I love how you worded that. This film is called Relationship Killers, kind of referring to the cardinal sins of, the things that end partnerships, right? I would love to have you weigh in on this. What would you classify as maybe the top 2 relationship killers that you've either observed or experienced?
Not too. One thing is lying, because I think that if you lie, you will eventually get caught. And the longer it takes to get caught, the more damage it will have on the relationship. And then tied to that is having strong communication. If you don't talk about what you're going through, then those feelings will just fester, and they can really damage the relationship as well. And it's hard to talk to your partner about truth and what's going on. Like, I like what Lexi and Jerry was saying, but particularly what Lexi was saying, like, when you're going through stuff, sometimes it's very difficult to articulate to your partner what exactly you're going through. And your partner wants you to talk, like, please talk to me, tell me what's going on. And sometimes you're just not there or able to talk about it. And so finding a way to work through that so that both parties can constructively get to the point where they can communicate, that takes work, and I see you, Lexi, and I love this hair. This is the first time I've seen Lexi with her hair like draped, and it is fabulous. I'm like, I'm gonna have to let my hair down. But anyway, but yes, lying hurts a relationship, and lack of communication hurts it in major ways if you don't tackle it truthfully.
Preach. Lying is, for me, that's the number one. If you lie, where do we go from here? That is a relationship killer. Noah, you are in what phase of production for this film? Tell us about where that's at and how people can support the progression of that.
So we're in like prep stage 3, basically. There's been, a variety of delays and things of that nature because of, I'm just going to say 2020.
Yeah.
That'd be the explanation for a lot of it. But
COVID.
Yeah,
COVID.
I've been working on the screenplay for over 2 years. And it's kind of stayed the same as far as what happens, the points. And then this current cast and crew, we've been prepping for how long? 8 months? It seems like forever, because we were going to shoot a couple months ago, and then that got delayed, and then
feels like a year.
It's been a year.
June?
I feel like it's
June or July, like June. I think June.
Really?
I don't know.
Maybe July.
It seems like a long time. But
It's been a long time.
everyone's put in a lot of work. I'm very, very hard on my cast. I don't let them get away with anything. I work with them. I collaborate with them, but I everyone's gotten at least 400 homework assignments. I'm very, very.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say picky. I'm specific, but I'm still collaborative and let them take ownership of all of their choices. So that's kind of where we are. We've been in like a virtual prep, if you will, for a long time. We've been doing virtual rehearsals, and then we've done some, COVID safe in-person things a few times, just for spacing, and so that me and Carly can kind of get an eye on what we look like from a spatial awareness situation. And then as far as helping, it's I'm my last name is in Spielberg, so no one's going to give me a check to go make what I want. So this is a
you don't know that.
This is a this is a passion project.
Somebody drop 10,000 on you on top.
This is a passion.
Ask two to give you the money.
We are fundraising through fan and crowd support. We're doing it through the platform Indiegogo, and that is an active campaign that we are continuing to work on. Me and my company are partnering with Jerry and his company, Rocket Pig, who are helping with that side of the fundraising and everything. So that's kind of where we are now. I think as a cast, like, we're ready to go, or they're ready to go rather. And we just need money in the bank to greenlight everything.
Yes. Well, I'm hoping that this chat that we had today is a great way to paint the picture of the treasure trove that this story delivers. And as we wrap up here, can you give people, like, if you were going to give one website for them to connect with you and the cause of this film, what would that be?
When does this drop?
It's going to be in February. I had to figure out what day it was. Yes, so on Monday. It will drop on Monday.
Okay, cool. So then our Indiegogo campaign will still be active.
Okay.
And then we have accounts on every social media platform at Relationship Killers Film, except for Twitter. I had to change it up because of someone else already had that. Yeah.
The nerve.
But I'll give, we have a link tree that I'll send to Meredith and she can put in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure I put it in the show notes, and it'll be in the email and all over social media, because this is such a fun film and a fun way of talking about about relationships, which we can all relate to. So thanks, guys. That's a wrap. Woo!